What's good, guys? So today I'll be covering the Eldlich, the Golden Lord deck. Secret Slayers just came out, and I believe this is the best deck and the most popular deck from that set. But I just want to steer this deck list into a different direction. By no means is this a completed deck at all. This is literally one of my first takes on it. But I've done all my research. I've seen what the competitive deck looks like in the OCG, and because of how things are in the TCG, we don't really have any competitive events. But I've been seeing the deck list going around in the TCG, and a lot of people are playing things like Zombie World, the Doom King Baldrach, the cards from the Zombie Horde structure deck, and I do love that Zombie Horde structure deck. I played that deck. I love zombies. I'm happy we have a competitive zombie deck, but I do not think those cards are that relevant or good anymore. Those cards just require too many cards in your hand. You require things like Unizombie or the Banshee and another piece, sometimes 2-3 cards, and I think this deck is supposed to be a very heavy control deck, a lot of trap cards, and it's supposed to be like a masterpiece deck. This Golden Lord is literally a masterpiece. So I'm gonna get on with the deck list. I'm gonna tell you what my approach to the deck is and the theory, and let me know what you guys have to say about it, how you guys want to build the deck. But this is definitely one of the ways that the OCG saw a lot of success with this deck, by playing it with traps. But so to begin, the first three cards, the one of the few monsters that are going to be in the deck, Eldlich, the Golden Lord. I'll briefly go over the effects, but there are so many effects, so I highly recommend all of you guys to read the monster and all the different spells and traps. But essentially, he's your boss monster. You can send one card and you can send this card and one spell / trap from your hand to the graveyard to then target one card on the field, send it to the graveyard. So just generic spot removal, and then in the graveyard, he could add himself back by, I believe, only from the field. Yes, you can send one spell and trap card you control to the graveyard to add this card, then special summon one zombie from your hand, which is gonna be himself, and he'll gain 1,000 attack. So very straightforward, and like all the spells and traps in this deck all have graveyard effects, so it's not as neg as you would think. And yeah, that's just about it. And then the hand traps, Gamma and Driver. As you can see, we're not playing any other hand traps, but I do think Gamma is one of the strongest hand traps in the game. And if you're gonna play any hand trap, I would highly recommend playing Gamma in this deck, because you're always going to start with spells or traps. Sometimes you won't even be able to get to the Golden Lord until the following turn, and you'll want your spells and traps to resolve, and your spells and traps are going to resolve a lot easier if you have Gamma in your hand, and you're playing the 3 Extravagance, so it's always just nice to have Gamma. You guys can go without Gamma. There's so many other cards you could play, but a lot of the lists I was looking at were playing Gamma. I tested it. I really enjoyed it, so let me know what you guys think about Gamma. But then 3 Extravagance have to play Extravagance. Extravagance, we will be getting a reprint, so I don't think it's that big of a deal, and we won't have any competitive events for quite some time until we probably get the Extravagance reprint. So I think it's fine waiting on this card. I would just test it out, see how you guys want to play it. But definitely play Extravagance. And then I chose to play Terraforming Mystic Mind because of the low hand trap count. There's going to be a lot of times where like maybe the opponent does set up a board, or you're going second, and Terraforming Mystic Mind just steals games. I thought about playing Zombie World, but I just don't think those zombie cards are that good. I think the new cards that we got from Secret Slayers are just independently so much stronger, and we don't need to do any like cool like Zombie World like locks or anything. I think the deck itself inherently does a lot of like unique things. And then the 2 Foolish Burial of Goods. Like I said, all the spells and traps that we're about to get into have graveyard effects. Literally every single one of them. Like every single card, every single spell and trap is essentially like a +1, and it's crazy to me. So the very first one, Cursed of the Eldland. This is essentially every single turn you pay 800, and then you could add the Golden Lord to your hand, or any of the Golden Land spells and traps. So you can't add the Eldlich spells and traps, but that's fine because that would be so insane. But there's that, and then when this goes to graveyard, you could set the Eldlich, what's it called? If this card is sent from spell trap to the graveyard, you could send the monster to the graveyard, or any Golden Land spell or trap, and then the Golden Land spell or trap also have a graveyard effect on end phase. And then the Eldlich of Black Awakening, special summon 1 zombie monster, very simple. So the other versions of the deck play these other zombies, because this card has a clause where if you don't have the Golden Lord on the field, you have to summon Golden Lord. And if you do have Golden Lord on the field, you're allowed to toolbox into any zombies. And I think that is very cool. I think there might be something in the future, but I really do not see it, because like the zombie cards are not that good. Me summoning a Unizombie isn't doing that much. Me summoning a Banshee is not doing that much. So I chose just to streamline the deck. As you like, I don't know if you guys just have realized all the deck lists I give you guys are always super streamlined, and that's the area I want to take this deck towards. So 3 of this, and we're only going to ever summon the Golden Lord, and it has a graveyard effect. So all the Elder Elixirs, there's this one that we're playing, and then the next one, the Elder Elixir of Scarlet Sanguine. But before we get into that, let me explain their graveyard effect. They could banish themselves to get their other version of it. So there's 2 different types of spells and traps. I know it's very hard to follow, but if you guys play the deck, read all the cards. It's not that bad. So the Elder Elixirs can all set the Golden Land trap cards, any spell or trap, and then vice versa. The Golden Land spells and traps can set the Elder Elixir spells and traps. So they just go back and forth like that. So the next one is Elder Elixir of Scarlet Sanguine, and this is by far the strongest trap card that they have. Probably, arguably their best trap card. You could special summon 1 zombie monster from your deck or graveyard, and same clause. If you like, you can only special, and then you can only special summon Eldritch monster with this effect for the rest of this turn after this card resolves. If you control no Eldritch monsters, same thing as the spell. Like, they both can summon. That's why I think people did want to play other zombies in the deck, but summoning Golden Lord is just good enough, and just playing a control-based game. And there's other things we can do, and there are other monsters, and I'm going to get onto that next. The Conquistador of the Golden Land. So this is essentially special summon this card as a normal monster. It's level 5, remember that. So this is a way to just generate some type of advantage, because this deck really doesn't have that many monsters. So we have this one, and then this has another effect where if you have the Golden Lord on the field, all the Golden Land spells and traps besides the counter trap have an effect where if you have the Golden Lord, they get additional effects. And that's the whole concept of the deck. The spells and traps get even more stronger if you have the Golden Lord. So you always try to set up the Golden Lord and then resolve these spells and traps. If you have the Golden Lord on the field, you could pop a face-up card when this card resolves. And then the next one, Hakira of the Golden Land. Same thing, level 5. Very important to note, because we are going to be playing level 5 XYZs. And this one is essentially a DD Crow if you have the Golden Lord. And then there's one more, Guardian of the Golden Land. I don't think Guardian is that good. I just have it in here because it's one of the newer cards and I wanted to show you guys. But I do think we could just cut Guardian, unless you guys tell me something that I'm missing here. Guardian's effect when Golden Lord's on the field is just to reduce any card on the field that's in face-up attack position to 0, which is very eh. And then the biggest issue I have, I would definitely play more copies of this if it was a level 5, but it's not. And level 5 XYZ is going to be one of your big power plays in this deck. This is the level 8. I think it's a little awkward. I wanted to test it. I wanted to see if there's something out there that I can do with this, but I don't think so. I think you could replace this card for another copy of Hakera, or the next card, Golden Land Forever. So the counter trap is the only trap card that doesn't have a graveyard effect by banishing to set another spell or trap on end phase. So that's the only thing bad about it, but I think having a searchable negate of anything isn't bad. So I would definitely play it, at least 1 copies. I've seen lists playing 2. So yeah, those are the spells and traps. I'm not playing the revive spell because the revive spell was just too slow for me. You can only summon the Eldlich of the Golden Lord. It was a quick play spell. It was kind of neat, but not that good, not my thing. So those are the spells and traps. And then the hard traps, the non-engine traps that you're going to play. 3 Judgment. You have to play Judgment in this deck because you have to be protected from Lightning Storm. And then the Floodgates. It's up to you guys to decide which Floodgates that you guys want to play. I looked around on a bunch of the OCG lists, and it seems like the consensus is the best ones to play are Skill Drain, which we only have it at 1, so some limits the next one. And then there can be only one, a trap card that I've talked about many times. This card's ban-worthy. This card's really good. So play those, and then 1 Imperial Order. Very streamlined. The spells and traps do so much, so I honestly recommend you guys go back and just read everything. It's very hard to explain how this deck functions. I've never seen a deck function the way it does. The spells and traps are just so crazy. And then we have the extra deck. The extra deck is very free because the main deck is where a lot of the power comes from. But there's a few cool things in the extra deck I do want to note. But we are playing Super Poly. You could play Super Poly in the main deck very easy in this deck. And extra deck is so free. We have so much space. You could even get rid of Super Poly to try to play other XYZs. But Earth Golem Ignister, the Starving Venom Fusion Dragon, and the Dragostopelia. Those are the most generic Super Poly targets you could go. And then 3 Pallades. Turboing at Pallades is crazy in this deck, and it's very easy. That's why I'm considering playing 3 of the Hakero, but Pallades definitely consider that. And they're lights too. That's how you can make the Pallades. And then 1 Volcasaurus. I saw a few lists playing Volcasaurus. I wanted to give it a shot. I've never summoned it, so I don't know. And then the train cards that you could play, the Gustav Max and then the the Lieb that you could put over the Gustav Max, and you just make this with 2 of the Golden Lords, and this is a win condition. Straight up, this is 8,000 points of damage if the combo ever resolves. And then there's one more train card that you could play, the Sky Palace. This is essentially like a pop spot removal. You could like pop anything. It outs problematic things. I think it's worth playing. And then one Phoenix just because. Why not Nightmare Phoenix? You guys can figure it out, but definitely try out the Pallades. And I think playing like rank 5s is like definitely the way to go. And then the side deck, generic side as usual. But Inspector Border, when you go first, Inspector Border is kind of good. I thought about main decking Inspector Border, but I like Gamma more. And then Lava Golem, 3 Super Poly, 3 Evenly Matched, and then 3 Anti-Spell for all the like the spell decks, the fucking the Shadal decks. Those decks are very annoying to deal with. But guys, that's my take on this deck. It's a little different than how you guys like to see it. It's a very stun-oriented deck. It reminds me of like the Masterpiece deck from way back in the day. It's definitely weaker than that, but this is how the OCG played it to get like to show this deck in the competitive state. I didn't want to show you guys the deck with like playing Zombie World or any of those Zombie Horde cards, but I do think those Zombie Horde cards are really cool, and I know why people are a big fan of it. Guys, let me know if there's any other ways to play this deck, or is it going to be just a stun deck in our format? And stay tuned for more. Subscribe. I'm gonna try to check out the other Secret Slayer decks. I don't know if they're actually good, but yep, let me know.